The earliest memory of reading involves sheet music and lyrics to songs. When I was 6 years old, I got up on stage in front of my peers with Mr. Remley, a family friend, to sing Do Re Mi from The Sound of Music. I had studied the lyrics for weeks in preparation. This, of course, led to my many years of singing in talent competitions, singing on and off the stage, and memorizing lines for the various shows I was in. From those early years, I became enticed by the ideas of singing and theater. My earliest memory of reading with books involves Goodnight Moon and The Very Hungry Caterpillar. I remember staying up late every night to read this book with my mom. I would love to point out the pictures, especially the ones of the food in The Very Hungry Caterpillar. I'd point at it and say in my own weird tone what kind of food I thought it was. After that, I moved on to chapter books. Some of my favorites included the Junie B. Jones books and The Magic Tree House. There was something I loved about the adventure the main characters went on, diving into the magical adventures of Jack and Annie as they get sent across time, and of course following Junie B. Jones and her adventures in schools. I spent my childhood reading these types of books. Then came along the horror phase. I started diving into books by Mary Downing Hahn. Her books like The Doll in the Garden, Deep, Dark, and Dangerous, and Wait Till Helen Comes were among my personal favorites. I'd stay up late reading these novels and would read them over and over again, intrigued by the idea of ghosts and demons. Along with this craze came Harry Potter. My mother sitting with my brother and I as we read aloud to one another about this fantastical world of witches and wizards. Then as I grew up, I moved on from silly fiction and horror novels to romance, dreaming of the day I would find my Prince Charming. Reading novels by Sarah Dessen and Susan Colasanti kept my heart at bay as I fantasized about all the ways I'd get my first boyfriend. Reaching college and going through my English classes, my reading style really hasn't changed. Except now, instead of reading books for pleasure, my nights are filled with academic texts about Plato, Aristotle, and Jonathan Swift, as I yearn for more time to read for myself and not for school. The earliest memories of writing involve the handwriting contest we'd have to do every year at school. However, we had to write in cursive. I wouldn't say I was extremely exceptional when it came to writing in cursive, but I did get a participation certificate out of it. From there, my writing was mostly centered on what I had to write for school. Papers, journals, etc. filled my days with writing about dream jobs, most important days, and of course, my Cheetah Girls 2 party. That is, until I hit 7th grade. Along came the journey with poetry. Trying to find myself as a writer, I turned to poetry as my outlet. Writing about friendship, pain, and finding yourself. That's how I describe myself as a writer. A poet. Bad at essays, bad at research papers, but good at poetry. I even won a silver key at Scholastics for my poem entitled Creepy House. From there, my writing only grew. Through high school until college, writing was my least favorite thing to do. And even now, if given the option between writing a novel or reading a novel, I'd choose the latter. Because I'd rather be taken into a world I've never experienced before than write one.